All right, we're talking Xfinity series at Richmond. This is just the preview video. We'll have our final picks video out on Saturday after practice in qualifying. But again, coming into the week, these are some of the things that we are keeping in mind and some of the things that we're going to be looking for. So last week at Coda was a completely different approach than we have for this week at Richmond. Richmond is a short track. It's only I think 3/4 of a mile long. There's 250 laps versus like the 46 laps or whatever there was last week at Coda. So it's a completely different approach, a completely different strategy that you need going into this weekend. If you did the same thing you did last weekend, most likely it's not going to work out for you this weekend. So with that being said, last weekend it was all about, hey, just jam in the place differential guys, jam in the guys who can finish well, and just ignore laps led and fast laps just because it was so minuscule. Well, here you almost need the opposite approach where you really want to focus on guys who are going to be up front, who can pick you up those fast laps, who can pick you up those laps led. So for me, I really want to focus on getting as many of those dominators into my line as possible. And a good way of doing that is kind of this stars and scrubs lineup, approach where maybe you have 2 to 3 or maybe even 4 drivers in the 8K, 9K, 10K range. And then you're going down to the 4K range, the 5K range, and trying to find some good value plays there. And you're just hoping that the drivers who are, kind of more expensive are going to be able to, outscore more of a balanced lineup, and it increases your chances of getting that lap leader versus, I'm only going to play potentially 2 lap leaders and have a pretty balanced lineup. Because if a guy in your line isn't out front leading laps, you're just missing out on so many points. These laps clock off so fast at Richmond that you really need the guy out front if you really want a chance to definitely to take down a tournament, but at least cash. Another thing to keep in mind is, like I said, practice and qualifying and the race are actually all on Saturday. So Saturday is an extremely busy day for the Xfinity series. It was really nice from a DFS standpoint last weekend at Coda having an extra day, especially to get the picks video out. So it'll be a pretty tight window. We'll try our best. But either way, we'll be posting our spreadsheet with kind of final interest levels and our picks. But as far as guys coming into the week that I'm high on, or you can kind of see lineup wise, kind of initially kind of where we're thinking. So if you look at pricing, they did a pretty good job again, I would say, in my opinion. But Ty Gibbs, he was really fast here last year. He's been on fire. They posted some stat, I think, on Joe Gibbs, JGR's Twitter page, saying he's won 25% of the Xfinity races that he's entered and finished in the top 5, basically in 50% of them. So more than likely your chances of Ty Gibbs running up front are pretty high. Noah Gragson has arguably been the best driver all year long. Him and Gibbs have just been going back and forth. It's been really fun battle to see both of them running well. Algar, this is statistically one of his best tracks. He usually has a really good long run car. He's able to manage his tires well and progressively just gets better and better as the run goes on. John Hunter Nemechek, I think, is going to be a really interesting play. He hops in the JGR 18. If you remember last year, he ran the Sam Hunt Racing 26 car and actually ran pretty well at Richmond. He was in the top 5 for a majority of the day. So I'm interested to see now that he's kind of in even better, JGR equipment, what that will mean for him. And he has practice and qualifying, because last year was just show up and race. Now he actually has a little bit of time. It's relatively a short session, but at least he has some laps on him before he's getting into that. My only fear with him is he's not, that team doesn't always have regular drivers in their lineup versus like a Gibbs or Gregson or an Allgaier. So I probably would lean with the other 3, but I'm still interested. And that's why I have him highlighted blue, because I'm interested to see, how he performs in practice. Where does he qualify? He's definitely going to be in my driver pool. Adrian Allmendinger is probably on the lower end of kind of interest levels. I would say Gibbs, Gregson, and Allgaier would be my highest of this expensive range at least. But Allmendinger is just so good of a driver, and uh, he's one of the better drivers in this series, so you can never count him out. Brian Priest is in this race. He's kind of more of a short track, kind of guy. He is running the 5 car, and don't worry, it's not a BJ McLeod car. It'll be prepared by Stewart Haas Racing. So again, he's not in this car all the time, but I could see him running well. Maybe he isn't the guy out front dominating lead laps, but most likely he's going to be up front, in the top 8 majority of the day. And maybe their team has a good pit stop, or maybe they get lucky on, when the caution flag comes out and they're able to get up front for some reason. I could see him, then kind of holding his spot. But again, he's just someone I'm interested in. But you can see, I think what you need to do is try to get at least 2 to 3 drivers, probably from Austin Hill all the way up to Ty Gibbs. Probably 2 to 3, maybe even potentially 4 of these guys, depending on how low you want to go. And then I don't think there's really a lot of value in the 7K to 6K range. Unless something crazy happens, it's hard to see really any of these drivers getting you out front and earning you dominator points. Once you get kind of the 8K range, I'm like, okay, I can see Austin Hill getting out front. I could see Sam Mayer getting out front. Maybe both of them aren't as likely, but I feel really good about Josh Berry, Allgaier, Gregson, Gibbs, maybe even Nemechek, Allmendinger, Priest, depending on how practice and qualifying goes. Maybe some of the guys I don't have highlighted, but you're going to need those dominator points if you want to take down a contest this weekend. So I want to maximize my chances and build my line with a majority of guys who at least have the potential to get out front, and just hope that of the 3 that I played, 2 of them hit, or of the 4 that I played, hey, 3 of them hit, versus only relying on potentially 1 or 2 of these guys, and it ends up being a different 2, and then you're just kind of screwed. Even if these guys aren't getting out front and scoring you dominator points, I think they should still be scoring well. So I think you focus on, the 2, 3, potentially even 4 guys you like from this top range, and then you just go all the way to the bottom of the slate and try to find value. Usually when it comes to punt plays, I'm usually trying to just play the guys who start really deep in the field, who can't really hurt you through pure attrition. They're going to continue to move forward. Your line isn't going to cash based off of you're not going to score poorly based off of a punt play who starts deep in the field. If you start Brandon Jones and you start 6th, then he wrecks out and finishes 28th, that's really going to hurt you. But if you start Stephen Parsons and he starts 32nd and finishes 28th, that's not really a great day, but at least that's still positive points, and it's not a huge anchor, holding back your line. Bailey Curry's been having just a really unlucky year. He's a little expensive. Don't know if you'll be able to get to him. I think Griffith is interesting. He's in that Sam Hunt 26 car. We saw how well John Hunter Nemechek ran in that car. So equipment wise, it should be pretty good. Raja is stepping in the Alpha Prime 44 car. That's pretty good equipment. Matt Mills, this is statistically kind of one of his better tracks. He basically, got booted out of the 5 car. So he'll be in the 55, but it's still the same equipment. Parsons and Howie. Howie's in that Alpha Prime. He's not the best driver, but he's got good equipment. I feel good that his equipment isn't going to fail. Raja's equipment isn't going to fail. Everyone else in this range, it kind of gets a little iffy. Not all these guys are even going to make the race. And then you potentially run into the issue of they might just have a mechanical failure on their own. Not that, a different driver couldn't have a mechanical issue, but that's kind of where we're at coming early into the week. I think it's, again, focusing on, the 10K, the 9K, maybe even potentially some of the 8K range. And then I don't really see a ton of value unless there's just a slam dunk, play that jumps out at us at practice and qualifying, but coming into the week, that it's pretty hard to see that, just because of again, trying to chase those dominator points. And then it's just finding the 1, 2, potentially even 3 punt plays who can provide you some good value. So that'll do it for the Xfinity Series preview. Our Cup Series preview is up right now as well. I just want to say thank you guys again for all the support. Really do appreciate it.